Hi, I'm Dr. Felice Cellini, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. And this is our Thursday evening Why Wait for Recovery community meeting. And welcome, everybody.
Hi, my name is Heidi, and I'm so blessed and grateful to be in recovery. I'm an emotional eater, I'm a binger, I'm a purger, I'm a food addict, and I am also a drug addict in recovery.
And I am a drug addict, alcoholic, anorexic in recovery. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for being a part of my recovery today. So we're still talking about hope. We're going to talk about
I hope
hope
so.
for a lot. Yeah, we're going to talk about hope for a while because hope is definitely something that we're going to need. Because when we find some hope, that helps us find the willingness to step into our recovery. And we talk about this often, but we talk about how recovery isn't for anybody that wants it, because everybody wants to get better. And it's not for the people that need it, because every addict and active addiction needs recovery. It's for people that have the willingness to do the work, to do whatever it takes to step into recovery so that they can lead a life and have some happiness and some joy and some freedom. And so we're going to talk about hope tonight.
Well, if you want to join in the conversation as well, we live stream on a couple of different platforms. You can watch us on Facebook, you can watch us on YouTube. But if you really want to, and if you're willing to get involved in your recovery, hop into the conversation, because this is how we actually get better, is by speaking and sharing heart to heart. And you can do that through What's Eating You. It's an app on Facebook, or just text us and we will hook you up.
Yeah, and so when we're talking about willingness as well, it's so awesome that you guys watch us on Facebook, and it's also very, very safe. So even to watch on Facebook, and even when you guys text in your questions, which is amazing, and I appreciate that as well, it's also real safe. And so if you're willing to step into your recovery, then take that first step. Do that little tiny thing that tells yourself that your willingness to change one little thing today, excuse me, and that one little thing just has to be you stepping into the room. So go ahead on What's Eating You, right?
Right.
And we have a waiting room there, and it'll show you how to get onto Zoom, and you can hang out with us on Zoom like everybody else is right now.
Right. And also, you can step into the waiting room and you don't have to speak, but at least you can take the first step, which is really taking that step towards your recovery.
Exactly.
It is a little daunting and it's scary, and it was really scary for me in the beginning. The first time I did it, I was petrified. I thought, what were people going to think, and what would happen if I said the wrong thing or did the wrong thing? And I had a whole lot of stuff going on inside my head, and I must tell you, it's been a life changer. For me, it shifted my whole world. I've also learned to grow by other people's shares. I learned so much from everybody else's shares as well.
Yeah, that's true. And when you talk about your fear, you guys, none of us are that important. So you're going to say what you say, and we're going to take from that what we need to take from it. There's no such thing as saying the wrong thing or having the wrong idea. We're here to learn and to grow together in recovery. And anything that you offer is something perhaps that somebody else wants to hear, whether you're scared or worried about how it's going to come out.
So we are two friends in recovery. You said in addiction.
We really are.
We are two. Yeah,
we're not in addiction right now.
No, we are two friends in recovery, and what we do is we share our stories of our strength, our hope, and we are not any formal association. We just are having a conversation and learning from each other. And one of the beauties of this is we get to meet amazing people. And one of our friends is actually visiting from another state.
What state are you from?
Today.
From Illinois.
From Illinois.
And
She's here in Florida, right here.
And we met Jessica in our room. We actually met her in Why Wait for Recovery, and she used to join us from her treatment center. We were her meetings. And I actually asked her to share a little bit about her journey, because she is amazing.
Well, thank you. Well, you guys are amazing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I was telling Heidi earlier.
Speak up, Angel, please.
Okay. I was telling Heidi earlier that this has literally changed my life. I mean, if this program, I'm going to call it a program, wasn't here, if I hadn't stumbled across it on Facebook, I would still be miserable and unhappy. I never understood food addiction until Why Wait for Recovery. So I'm very grateful for you guys, and I wouldn't be here in this room. I wouldn't have taken the time to come down here to meet you guys and come to meetings in person. Like, it's just amazing. It's life changing. So
And I know that when we met and we spoke with each other, you were talking about going into treatment, which you did, which is a tremendous step to take when we talk about your willingness.
Yeah.
And you knew that you were sick and that you were suffering and that you were scared.
Right.
But it was the food addiction, like you said, that you really didn't understand.
Right.
And you went into a drug and alcohol treatment center
Mm-hmm.
and actually was dealing with the food addiction, right? You had
Yes.
past addiction, past other addictions.
Right.
And does it make a difference which of them you're working on?
No, not at all.
Of course not, because recovery is the same, you guys. It's got absolutely nothing to do with what we're picking up. It has to do with why we're picking up. And how did that work out for you in recovery, in treatment?
It worked out great. I was able to phone into the meetings here and do the 12 steps because my program was a 12-step program that I went to. So I was able to do the 12 steps with them, plus get supplement from the Why Wait for Recovery. And I've actually been sharing about Why Wait for Recovery at my AA meetings that I go to because they're open. And I saw one of the counselors from the program I went to the other day because she comes to my job, and she's like, "You made a really positive impact on one of the patients who's there," and just shared how, she kind of had that enlightenment, kind of like I shared the other day. I don't know, the word's getting out. It's great. Food addiction can't be beat.
And it's amazing seeing the change in you. I mean, from the first time that we met online, when you actually have the courage to step into a meeting, which is you were in the middle of nowhere. I mean, compared to where we are, different states, different time zones, and you still made the effort to come to the early morning. 9 o'clock is 8 o'clock where she is, okay? And she actually made the effort to come in and start working with us. And also, I've grown through knowing Jess. I mean, that's the big thing. Is, we started she came in not knowing if she wanted to go for surgery first, and that was part of the conversation. I took the extremes. I went for the surgery. The things that we do to ourselves and for ourselves to achieve our goals is different. Each of us have different stories, and it brings us back to the same place in the feelings. We all end up feeling the same thing, that guilt, that shame, that demoralization, that same thing. And the amazing thing is knowing these friendships and building these friendships. I must tell you, I've got better friends being in recovery than I ever had my whole life.
And talking with one of the girls in the AA, I was telling her how I was so depressed and anxious and suicidal, and she's like, "So it really doesn't matter if it's food or alcohol?" Like it was like a light bulb for her. It was crazy, so I was like, of course it doesn't matter, but not everybody gets that.
Yeah, and you did get it. And it's funny because a whole lot of people don't get it about cross addictions. And think that, well, it's okay, I was an alcoholic, so I was drinking, 80 bottles of alcohol a day, and now I've just gained 150 pounds, and never even crosses their mind that perhaps food, nobody really thinks of that food addiction thing, very few of us do, and such an easy cross addiction because it's just so friggin' acceptable, which makes it so difficult to beat, is because it's just so acceptable. When we walk into the room and you say that you're an opiate addict, everyone's like, "Ooh, she's an opiate addict. That's bad." I gained 150 pounds. Oh, you'll go on a diet. It's okay. You got to start walking in the morning, before you go to work. It doesn't have anything to do with that, you guys. Our reasons for using are our reasons for using. The fear that we walk around with that tells our brain that we need to do something so that we don't have to feel the way that we feel, or we could feel better, or we could feel different than how we're feeling. And we'll use whatever we can use, right, to make that happen, whether it's food or drugs or alcohol or sex or gambling or whatever that is.
It's interesting because Jess and I were talking earlier in the con. She's saying, where's this person and that person? I haven't seen them for ages. Because she's been around us for quite a while. And it's quite interesting. I think with food, when you're looking at people who have a severe drug problem or alcohol problem, they look sick and they know what that looks like. When I was into my drug use, I knew how serious a relapse was, or if I took it to the full end, how detrimental and dangerous it was. Whereas food becomes like that one thing, I've got this, and I start seeing it as a diet and start looking at it totally different. It skews our perception because it doesn't look that serious when we're food addicts, and we don't talk to ourselves of the serious nature of how deadly food addiction is.
And that's true, and that's also the way that society sees it, right? Is that it's really no big deal. I am going to say, as a drug addict, and an alcoholic and an anorexic, we view it the same way. So
Right.
it's saying, you know what, I haven't had a drink in 6 months, and you know, I can have one drink on the weekend. I mean, come on. You know, I haven't done any opiates in 7 years, and I went to the dentist and he gave me a prescription. It's from the dentist, and when you talk about I got this. I think that with the food it's easier to hide, and I think that maybe it's easier to BS yourself because of the way that society looks at it as well, right? It's easier
Right.
to hide what you're doing. But as far as our bullshit-ometers, you know, I think that they're all broken,
Right,
no matter what our
100%. And I think
addiction
also,
is.
because of that diet mentality, we always think we have another comeback. You know, we always think that we will be able to start again on Monday and we can always come back and it's going to be okay. Whereas I know that when I was dealing with my drug issues, if I got behind that wheel and there were things that I did that were so dangerous, not only for myself, but for the passengers in my car and other people on the road, and just realizing that and seeing that in my own head, I'm talking from my own experience, I could see the seriousness of that, whereas driving through getting burgers at McDonald's wasn't as serious. That's how I justified it in my own mind. So I can understand why people stop coming to meetings, because we do. We see a fall off rate of people. They start off, they're gung-ho, they're coming, then they don't come back. And I understand that people step into recovery in their own time, and some people are ready and some people are not, and it's a personal journey. But I think until we actually identify the serious nature and acknowledge it and surrender to the serious nature of our addiction, then it becomes a very slippery slope and it becomes a very dangerous place to actually sit.
Yeah, it really is. That's exactly correct. And you'll find, though, that as far as clean time and rates of no matter what the addiction is, if 3 out of every 100 of us are going to stay clean, then 3 out of every 100 of us are going to stay clean. Whether I'm an opiate addict or if I have some type of food addiction problem. And that's the really scary part. And I think that that's the part that people don't see. Is that, okay, well, you know what, if I tell you only 3 of every 100 opiate addicts are gonna stay clean, you guys would probably be like, oh yeah, you know those drug addicts, like only 3 out of every 100 of those people will get it. When you look at obesity, and you look at how many people quote unquote diet or try to step into OA or whatever, you're gonna find the same. That there are people that are gonna go in and then they're out. They go in and they're out. And so it isn't that binging and purging and anorexia and food addiction. It's not that it isn't as bad or as serious, because statistically we're all the same. And we know, you and I know, and you guys know, that it's never about what we're picking up. So if it's never about what we're picking up, then it's always about the disease, the dis-ease. It's always about what's eating us, no matter what we're picking up. And until we change that, it doesn't matter what we pick up, because, and we've talked about it, how many people have bariatric surgery and then become alcoholics? Because it's so easy, right? Let's do 1 shot, because my stomach can definitely hurt, probably 2 shots, maybe 6 shots, you know, because it goes through my system really quickly. And so there's a lot of that going around also, you guys.
So as long as the story is about what you're picking up, then it alleviates a responsibility, and then we can always stay in that victim mode, and then we can always have a reason why we're not getting clean or why we're not getting healthy, and keep going down that same slippery slope.
And I love you just said that. As long as the story is, because it's a story, man, it's some bullshit that you made up to tell yourself, so that we don't actually have to deal with the challenge. You know, when we're in the middle of active addiction, we're paying attention. Our whole entire life in chaos revolves around the addiction part of it. You know, it doesn't revolve around what's going on with me, why am I doing this? It's where's my drug dealer and how long is that McDonald's open, and you know, it's all about that, as opposed to I need to figure out what it is that's going on inside of me so that I can learn to get well, so that I don't have to pick up.
You know, and what I find so interesting is, though we have different reasons that get us and bring us to the point that we're at right now, we kind of go through similar things. Like, I looked at why I'm an addict, and who do I blame for it, and who do I hold responsible, and how was my journey to get here. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's just that realization that I'm an addict, and how do I move forward from here? What is the hope for my future? Like, what do things look like for today? Because essentially that's what it comes down to, is getting through today, being happy and being healthy, or just getting through today in a way that I'm not hurting myself or hurting someone else. I mean, essentially.
And I love that. So who do we blame for it? You guys, nobody stuffs the food in our mouth or the needle in our arm. Nobody's doing that. And so it's not about blame, right? It's about where's the challenge and where's the solution. Oh, remember they say in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, pour me a drink. And so as long as I can blame somebody, I'm a victim. If it's your fault, then I'm an addict. Well, what am I going to do? Because it's your fault. And if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be an addict. And if you didn't raise me like that, and if this didn't happen, then, you know, I would be just like everybody else, and I would be, and that's bullshit. However we grew up and viewed the world, whatever allowed us to make the choices that we make, those are the choices that we make. As far as our brain chemistry, you guys were different than other people are. And okay, so if we're allergic to chocolate, it's up to us not to eat chocolate, correct? Okay, so we got that part squared away. So it doesn't matter in the end. Does it matter what happened when I was 3? Yeah, sometimes it does. And there's some trauma that happens, and we need to work through that trauma with our priest or our therapist or, you know, community or whatever. We need to work through that stuff so that we have a better understanding of that stuff. But it's about, in active addiction, we get some abstinence, and then once we get some abstinence and we're not in that active addiction, it's about looking at me and why am I viewing the world the way that I do, and what don't I have acceptance about, right? And what do I understand that I'm not in control of, you know, and the things that I am in control of, and what is it going to take, and what do I need to do for me to change?
So I love that you said work through it, because that's one of the reasons that we came up with the workshop.
Correct.
Is really, you know, all of this is about learning about ourselves, learning about why we react the way that we do, and why we do the things that we do. And it doesn't matter. You can never learn too much. I mean, I honestly believe that I have my therapist, and I do the workshops, and I do my work, and I do all the other things that help me grow, because I spent so much time working my addiction and being an addict, and I invested so much time and energy into that. I should be putting the same amount of effort into my recovery, because it's a much happier place to be.
You know, it made me get, yes it is, and
Yeah.
it made me giggle when you said, you know, Jazz, and she's from here, and we were in a meeting at 9, which is 8 o'clock in the morning. Like when you were using, was there ever 8 o'clock in the morning? It didn't matter, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Whatever time it was using time. Right? We didn't need to sleep at using time, right?
Whenever
No.
people would say something about being hungry, like, and not wanting to eat, I'd be like, what does hunger have to do
Right.
with anything?
Exactly.
We were actually talking about this today, because I was saying, you know, I used to view myself as a garbage pail, because I could never look at a full plate. I could never look at food being left on a plate, because it used to bother me. So I used to eat other people's food at the table. I mean, and we're saying, you know, it's only until I had this realization after my surgery that at some stage it's either going to land in the garbage or it's going to land in the toilet, but I don't need to be the thing that it goes through. And I mean, for me, that was a huge realization and a big thing for me to work through, because I always associated with that need, like I had to get through this. It was a compulsion for me, which is a part of my disease.
Yeah, and so it is a compulsion, right? It's a physical compulsion and a mental obsession. And it doesn't have anything to do with being full or hungry, and it doesn't have anything to do with having a toothache or not. You know, it has to do with not wanting to feel the way that we're feeling, and why we don't want to feel the feelings that we are. And how do we learn to feel them, understand them, and change our perspective so that we can walk in recovery as opposed to walking around in addiction.
And feeling full in other ways. I mean, with all that eating and with all that other stuff and all the stuffing, I was so empty on the inside that I was trying to fill that emptiness with other things. And the answer for that, for me, was food. And then it was resentment, and then it was a whole lot of other stuff, but it was always stuffing something else in there. And it's learning to actually notice things when they're coming up, essentially. I mean, that's weird for a binger and a purger, but it is true. As it's more the emotional side of things than getting in touch with that. And when you don't know what that looks like, it's really hard to name it or explain it or identify it. And this is where I find the community so vital, because this is how I learn to explain things and look at things and understand things.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we'll do a check-in.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go around, see who everybody is, and see what everybody else would like, thank you for sharing. And see what everybody else would like to share today about having some hope or not having some hope, or being afraid or not being afraid. So whatever it is that we want to speak about, Sarah, I'm gonna call you out. So nice to see you. So nice to be able to call you out. You let me do it so nicely.
So just speak up because we're gonna microphone all the way down there.
Speak up, honey.
I think hope is such a great topic, and right now it really relates to my world, because there are a lot of people in my world right now close to me that are, feeling pain and sadness, and it's all about being hopeful that things will turn out for the best. And I know, and this is like amazing, that being in recovery has given me a lot of gifts, and one of them is being hopeful. Having that hope and being more positive and being more calm in really tough situations where I could crumble, but I'm staying strong. And another thing I think about that I'd like to share is that being in my recovery, there are certain people in my life that I've felt very hurt by, that maybe I felt contributed to, my disease. And now that I'm in recovery, I find that I can be around them. I don't have that anger. I don't have that like, oh, I hate this person. I can't, I'm just joy and just try to be in the moment with them, and I don't feel too much about it. So it makes me feel happy that I don't know, I see the change and I'm happy about it. I don't know.
So they say acceptance is the answer to all of our challenges
Right.
today, right?
Right.
And when I'm not accepting of you, if you're somebody that I allowed you to hurt me in the past because you said that, I had a really big nose and I was really ugly, and, and that really hurt my feelings, right? Why? Why do I want to walk around with that? Why can't I understand that you're the person that you are and that your opinions matter to you, but they certainly don't have to matter to me, right? And I could look at you and say, hey, I really hope that you get some happy in you today, because people who are happy in themselves today don't talk nasty to or about other people, right? And so it's so freeing to let go of the resentment, because the only person that resentment hurts is you. The only person that the anger makes crazy is you, right? And so we learn that when we let go of the fear and the anger and the resentment, we get to be happy. Ange, how many times have I told you that? Right? It's not too many. It's just we say it till we're done saying it, right?
Yeah.
We hear it until we get it.
And I joked about that and I said too many, but it's actually probably not enough because you say it so many times to remind me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that the anger, the anger doesn't serve us. It doesn't do anything for us except for eat us up and sometimes give us an excuse to revert back to our old behaviors because we're not working through those feelings, right? You guys, if I'm nasty, it's because I'm nasty. It's not because of you, it's because I'm nasty. If I'm nice, it's because of me. I'm not nice because of you. I'm nice when I'm nice. And so taking those things, taking other people's stuff on and taking it personally, negative stuff, taking it personally only hurts you. Another thing that I want to talk with you about, if you could just share with it about for a sec, is that you, when we first met, you were super, super anxious, and affect-wise, you were super anxious. We could see the anxiety was like all around you. And at that time, you were taking on everybody else's chaos, right? Because you weren't ready to take a look at yourself yet. And so you were in the middle of your addiction, binging and purging, and also just being in the middle of that chaos part of the addiction chaos. This person said that to her, you wouldn't believe it, and then she said that to Angie, but then she called, hey, and you know what they said, and can you believe that they said, and you were doing a whole lot of that, right? And you're not doing a whole lot of that now.
No, I've definitely improved with that. I've gotten a lot better with that. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
And what is and we're all a work in progress.
Yeah.
So we're always all gonna be working on that. But what has that done for you?
Well, when I find myself in the middle of chaos, or other people try to bring me in their chaos, and I get in the middle of it, it only leads me to a bad headache, and I feel drained, and I don't feel good. when I step out of that and I'm not in it, I feel okay. I feel normal. Well, you know, I feel more free, and then I can focus on, you know, everyone has their own problems. I can focus on myself or, you know, bigger things that are going on. I feel better, but when I get in the middle of anything, I don't feel good. So it makes me feel more free and happy.
Because those are the things that you are in control of. You
Right.
stepping out of chaos, you're in control of.
Right.
Other people's chaos, you have zero control over,
No.
right? And it ain't none of your business.
No,
Right.
it's their problem.
Right, exactly.
You know, when you talk about the gifts of recovery, one of the things that I found was really interesting is it gave me a choice. Like a choice to how I want to get involved or what I want to do, or perspective-wise, like where do I sit in this? And it also enabled me to be present during really difficult times.
Yes.
You know,
I love.
You know, when I went through family members getting sick, I could be there and make it about them, and it wasn't about me, whereas before everything was about me.
Yes.
And it was a totally different kind of experience, because I could enjoy them for the people that they are and give them a stage almost to be the people that they are.
No, yeah, I can relate to that. And I've been thinking about that a lot. So I keep saying that to my sister. I've been saying that. I'm like, one of the most awesome things right now is that my mom's not, you know, sick or whatever, and I can just be there for her. I'm like, I don't know if that's like universe timing that I got better, and unfortunately she's not that great, but I can be there for her at least. Like it doesn't have to be about me. I can be there for, you know, other people.
Yeah, and so you letting go of that fear, right? And you having some acceptance and understanding that the world around you is happening, right? It's happening. And when we choose to be in fear, it just blocks us from anything positive. It just keeps us sick and scared and suffering, right? And when we can let it go and say, you know what? Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Good, bad, or indifferent. Whatever is happening out there is happening out there. How do I wanna show up today? How do I wanna show up for my mom today? You know, do I wanna be upset and sick and scared, or do I wanna be understanding and kind and compassionate and let her know that I love her? And understand that when things happen to the people that we care about, it hurts us and it makes us sad. But we don't have to be in the middle of everybody else's chaos and stay there. And then how long do we want to stay in sick and scared after something happens? How quickly can we learn that we can deal with our sadness or some of our fear, and we can learn to move on and to get happy again and to help others, right? Because we can't be of service, you guys, when we're stuck in the middle of sick and scared. We can't be, right? Because then we're here. We're self-centered.
You know, and I think one of the greatest realizations for me as well is that I can't fix everything. You know, I don't have the answers to everything, and I'm just being there and being present and making the time that I've got right now with you and with you and with you is special, just in that we're here in the space and time.
Yeah, and you are here. And thank you for being here today, and thank you for sharing. The change in you is amazing. And you know, I know you guys look at each other's weight and all that stuff. I know that you've lost like 846 billion pounds or 8 pounds or however much that is, because for me, I don't see that. I don't know if you used to be this big or this big or this big. You could ask Angela. I have no clue. As an anorexic, for me, you know, for me, I'm this big, so it doesn't matter. But spiritually, you present beautifully.
Thank you. I feel
You know,
better. I feel
Yeah. Yeah, even just you see our affect, the way that you speak, and you speak calmly, and you think, and you're here to be of service and to share. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
The gifts of my recovery is getting to see you in your recovery, which gives me hope and lets me know that everything is possible. So thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay, we're gonna go up there, and we heard. So Jennifer, calling you out. So get off mute. Jennifer, what state are you from?
Massachusetts.
Oh, Massachusetts. Without the
Yeah.
accent? Do you speak with an accent? How are you?
I'm doing better.
Better than?
It's the last 2 weeks.
Because the last 2 weeks?
I kind of had like this really crazy breakdown thingy where I was stressed and depressed and lonely, and it was a big giant mess.
Okay, fair
So I
enough. Were
kind
you, were you abstinent at the time or were you using?
When I became depressed, I don't know, I was using.
Okay, so thank you for saying that. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we know that anyway, right? But thank you for sharing that with us, because remember, honesty is a big part of what allows us to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sorry that you had a hard time, and I'm certainly sorry also that with your hard time came the using. And so I'm gonna tell you, stop it. No. How are you doing today?
Today better. So this week, at the end of week before last, I kind of like tried to snap myself out of it, and I started looking for a therapist.
Good.
And so that's a journey. And I'm just trying to stay clean and try not to substitute obsessions with other obsessions, to, try not to get into something else that I shouldn't be getting into. So
Oh, okay, fair enough. And so, so what happened was you were depressed and you were probably sad and anxious and fearful about something. I don't know if you want to share what that is. And then what you did was you picked up. And then once you're picking up, then you get to hardly even ever think about why I'm sad and depressed and guilty and fearful and this, because now it's about my addiction. Now I just have to pay attention to my addiction. What am I going to do? And I'm feeling guilty and ashamed because I'm using. And now all of my thoughts and my fears get to be about being guilty and ashamed because I'm using, as opposed to what's going on with me. What do I need to take a look at it? What am I not accepting in my world? So do you want to touch on what you weren't accepting in your world that made you so fearful?
a lot of health issues. Like
Okay.
I did have bariatric surgery, so I had that to become healthier, but it seems like it's just brought on other things.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they were problems before, but they never came to head before
Mm-hmm.
the surgery. So it's just kind of like one thing after another.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to talk about any of those things, which of course you don't have to? I don't know you well enough, like I know the other girls, to embarrass them and call them out. So I'm not going to do that with you. But is there anything that you want to give us a little bit of a specific, so perhaps we can share with you or help you through something?
Well, it started with female issues, and then it piled onto maybe having like endocrine problems and
Okay, so you're
having
talking about health stuff.
yeah.
Okay, and so you know God made doctors, right?
Yeah.
Right, and so because I want to think about everything kind of black and white and intelligently, which when we're using, we have none, right? So yeah, so if you're having a problem physically and it's a medical problem, the thing to do to step into the solution, because when we're scared, we're the most scared when there's something happening and we sit there and do nothing. And I don't know about you guys, but that term frozen in fear was the way that I used to live my life. And so the more afraid I was of something, the less I did. The less I did. Can you relate to that? You're shaking your head, right? The less that we do because we're scared. So the thing to do is did you reach out to anybody, Jen, in the community?
No.
Oh, yeah, start doing that. So
Yeah.
obviously, you've got some willingness today because you're here, right? You're in the meeting and you're here and you're speaking, right? And that's amazing. So that's a great first step, right? Stay
Yeah.
connected to are you doing your gratitude list every night?
No, I stopped 2 weeks ago, and I
Okay,
have
no,
to.
the answer to that was no. We're gonna talk in simple truth right now. No. Why?
The time I just didn't feel like.
All right, I
It was
didn't want to. Just say it, because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Right? Right, because you didn't want to. I'm gonna challenge you. I wanna see your gratitude list every single night for the next 2 weeks. That's my, Heidi's yelling at me because I'm hitting the table. I'm gonna challenge you every single night for the next 14 days. I wanna see your gratitude list in the morning and at night. In the night, I wanna see it, and in the morning when you wake up, I wanna see it. So you're gonna do 3 things that I'm grateful for, and in the morning, what I hope my strength to be. And at night, 3 things that I'm grateful for and what my strength for today was. And I don't care if your strength for today was that you picked up your friggin' phone to write this gratitude list. And I don't care if you're grateful for the fact that your ear didn't fall off today. I don't care what it is. But we talk about in recovery changing our perspective. When I'm stuck and sick and scared, I'm looking at what's keeping me sick and scared, right? When I'm looking for something to be grateful for, I find the things that I'm grateful for. That helps to change the perspective. Everybody here that's in recovery is going to tell you that when I told them in the beginning to do their gratitude list, they thought I was an idiot and they had absolutely no idea why they needed to do it and why was I so... And everyone's going to tell you that it helped them to get better.
And in the beginning, it used to take me 20, 30 minutes just to write 3 things I'm grateful for. Now it takes me like a couple of seconds and it's done. It just becomes one of those things that I overthink things and I sit in my head too long, but it's just a matter of getting it done. So get it done.
Yeah, and so that's going to show your second part of your willingness, is to say, you know what, the way that I'm doing things ain't working. It's not working for me. It hasn't worked for me in the past. So today, the crazy girl on the Facebooks is telling me that I have to do something, and maybe I'm a little bit pissed off right now because she said it to me in front of everybody. And even if you do it because you're pissed off, yay. I don't care, but do it, okay? So for the next 14 days, every morning and every evening, 3 things that you're grateful for. In the morning, a strength that you hope you have. At the end of the day, the strength that you did have, whether they match up or not. Okay, starting tonight.
So I just want to share something with you. I had a conversation with my 15-year-old earlier in the car. And I was saying to him, why aren't you doing this? He goes, because I don't want to. I don't like doing it. I go, well, if I had to do what I really like doing is I'd be stoned out of my bracket all the time and I would be using consistently if I went with what my brain is telling me that I want to do. So a lot of the stuff I do because I know it's good for me and because I just do it. I don't have to like doing it. I just have to do it because I know for me it works and it makes me healthier and in the long run it makes me happier. So I know my brain's been lying to me for so long. It's given me a lot of bad advice. So I'm trying to bypass that and just do what I'm told to do from people who have got what I want, essentially really healthy recovery.
Okay, Mama? So that's your challenge. Everybody hears it, right? We're all gonna throw. Can you throw things at somebody on Facebook?
No.
Oh,
That's
we
what's
can't.
missing.
Okay. So yeah, we have to have like a rotten apple thing or something. No, but so you're up for the challenge, right?
Yes,
You want to get well?
absolutely.
I want to hear you say, "I want to get well,"
I want to get well,
and I want to hear you say, "And I'm willing to do what it takes to do to get well."
and I'm willing to do what it takes to get well.
All right, and I know that I'm going to be scared,
I know that I'm going to be scared.
and that's okay. That's okay. It's okay that you're scared. We don't die from being scared. We die from staying where we are. Right? It's not the fear that kills us. It's not doing something to work through it that kills us. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing.
Jennifer, did you sign up for the workshop? I think I saw your name there.
I wanted to, but I worked that day, so
Okay, perfect. All right, yes, we'll talk about that after, so thanks. Thank you. Can anybody else share about where Jennifer is right now? About being there, about being scared, about being stuck, about anybody want to share about any of that? Okay then.
Everyone's just scared.
So I used to be,
Wait.
oh, thank you.
I just wanted to say that I can definitely relate to where you are because it was so, the whole time I was in my addiction, I felt scared and stuck. And I think as the years passed by, I definitely told my husband, I was like, I can't imagine living my whole life like this. Like, is it ever going to get better? Is this my life for the rest of my life? And I'm still young. But I did do the work and I continue to do my best to do the work, what I have to do every day. And by doing so, you really do see a change and things can get better. Because I didn't know if things could ever get better. I didn't know if I'd make it some days. I really didn't. So I have hope for you and I know things will get better.
And you also brought up a really interesting point as well, is that it doesn't happen overnight. You know, it's progress and it's not instantaneous. And the more we work for it and the more we work on it, eventually we turn around and we go, oh, you know what? I didn't pick up yesterday or 2 weeks ago, whatever. It's a day by day program. And all of a sudden we start seeing we see changes over time when we reflect back in time to see how much we've grown.
Right.
No, we
It gets
can-
easier.
It becomes different.
Right.
So,
It's a,
Thank you.
it's a little bit
Thank you,
easier.
Ange.
I just, when Haley was speaking, it just reminded, sorry, oops, I'm not sorry, I'm awesome.
You're awesome.
When Haley was just speaking, I was thinking about what you said about you fell off, I think you said you fell off the wagon like 2 weeks ago, or maybe I'm using
Yeah.
words you didn't, but okay. And so in your recovery, you're gonna start like this process like you had, and things are gonna go well, and then they're gonna get tough, and when they get tough, you know, that's kind of where you have to remember what you've learned and kind of use that to your advantage. And I don't want to say that you don't want to just give up and use. I'm not at all saying that's what you did, but you just want to know that it's not a linear process, that things get better and then you hit bumps in the road, and sometimes you feel like you went back further than where you began at, and then when you get past that, you feel like you're further ahead than where you were at. And so you kind of have to stay strong in those moments and reach out, and I'm always here. You can text, call, message. So just want to put that out there.
And
Thank you.
You know, we need to remember too that for addicts in active addiction, and remember you guys, not using and recovery are two different things, right? Abstinence is abstinence. Abstinence, we don't pick up and we stay fearful, right? We pretty much just stay emotionally where we were, we're just not picking up. And you know, to addicts, and I'm gonna quote somebody else, kind of paraphrase, but the thought of living with our addiction and our addiction every day is horrifying, but not as horrifying as the thought of living without our addiction, right? What do I do now? I'm having this challenge, I'm having this problem, and I'm not gonna pick up. How does that work? What does that look like? I used to say in treatment, it would be so much easier when we were in a treatment center if we could be high. Like the whole experience would have been so much easier. But the truth of the matter is that we get through things clean and it brings us a little forward. And Angela, like you said, sometimes we feel like we've gone back 63 years, like in the last 63 seconds. And that's okay to feel like that. And to work through that fear that we're out right now and get through the next 63 seconds and see that we didn't have to pick up because of it. And reach out to someone. Yes, Jess.
Just to tack on to what you said, like our addiction was like our best friend, and like Sarah was saying too, like I don't know, I can relate to a lot of what you said, but like I would go home and use because of all the feelings, you know, and so that's why it's really important to reach out too, because if your addiction was your best friend like it was mine, it's gone. I mean, it's there, but hopefully you don't want to go back to it like you used to, and you gotta like substitute with like real friends, and I'm here for you too. So just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and remember in the beginning too, like we all do think that, like, what's gonna happen if I'm upset and I don't use? And you know what happens? Nothing. Nothing happens, we just don't use. Like, it's so crazy that we can't get from this second to next second, thinking, you know, the world doesn't explode, and it's okay to feel bad. Nobody dies from feeling sad or feeling afraid or feeling, we don't die from that. We work through it. Right? When you're feeling scared, the earth doesn't open up and swallow you up. You just have to feel like crap for a little while. Okay. Okay.
So I just have to tell you, Jen, I just want to tell you, someone online said, I'm really excited that you shared that and that you had the courage to share, because I know I don't. So sometimes the things that we share really are the words that other people wish that they could say at that time. And we speak other people's stories, just as we hear our stories through other people as well.
And you went through what you went through, and right this minute you are of service to somebody else. So thank you for that.
Thank
Right?
you.
And so speak out, baby. You feel like crap, you're scared, you're sad, reach out, speak out. Of course, it's gonna help you feel better, but it's also gonna help somebody else feel better. So if you don't wanna do it for yourself, do it for another sick and suffering addict. Right? All right? Good job, you. I'm proud of you for saying what you said today. I think we all are, so good job, you. Okay, all you brave ones up there, out there in whatever states you're in, who wants to share? Or countries that you're in? Someone gonna share, or I'm gonna pick on you? Yes, Miss Nancy.
Okay, I just.
Nancy,
am
what
not
state are you
get-
from? New
What?
York? Are you from New York? What state
No,
are you from?
I'm from Canada.
Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, I interrupted you, go ahead.
What?
I said I interrupted you, go ahead.
Oh, I'm just maybe not getting something, but when you're talking about addiction, you're talking about how we're stuck and sick and scared, and I don't feel that I am.
Okay,
I don't know where the addiction is. Like I'm feeling kind of lost, floating around, like I'm not really an addict, but I can't control myself, but I'm just,
you can't control yourself?
well, okay, I get moments where I'll just have like a piece of toast. And I mean, that's
Okay,
not on my,
stop there, because we're not gonna talk about the diet part. The part we're gonna
Right.
talk about is that I can't control myself. So,
Okay.
right, we're gonna talk about a physical craving and a mental obsession,
okay,
okay? When you put your hand on the fire, it hurts you, it burns you, right?
right,
Can you control yourself? Do you put your hand back on the fire?
no,
No, why?
because it hurts.
Right, because it hurts. So you're here at a meeting talking with us addicts about how you're not sure that you're an addict. Why are
Right.
you here? Are you post-surgery or no?
Yes,
You are, okay. And are you at, is your body mass index normal? Within normal
No.
limits? No, why is
No.
that? Because you had a surgery so that you can get well because your weight was, you know, it doesn't matter. Obesity is a medical diagnosis, right? And we know
Right.
morbid obesity is a medical diagnosis. Morbid means I'm gonna get sick. And
Yes.
so, okay, and so you're working on something where you're saying, by the way, you saying I just had a piece of toast is me saying I just had a blue. You know, I just did 130 milligram oxycodone. I don't see what the big effing deal is about that. So, but there is
Yeah.
a big effing deal, because in my life, if I take 130 milligram oxycodone, my brain doesn't know that I don't need to take another 30 milligram oxycodone until 16 years from now when I have surgery, right? And so our brains don't know that, right? They say in Alcoholics Anonymous, 1 is too many because 1,000 ain't never enough, right? And so you're
Right.
having some kind of struggle. So you wake up in the morning and you know what you can do to keep yourself healthy,
yeah,
but you don't do it. Why?
because I'm an addict and I need to be in recovery.
Right, okay, so just because you haven't pinpointed what those fears are, remember all of our negative feelings are fear-based. All of our negative feelings are fear-based. So,
Okay.
and everybody has some fear. And so we know that you have some fear like the rest of us do. You're also doing something that's hurting yourself. There's a reason behind that. You want to question the fact that you're an addict or not? Are you taking the workshop?
Yes,
Good. Awesome. We're going to talk a whole lot about that. In the meantime, stay abstinent. Your 1 piece of toast is my 3 shots of tequila. It don't work for us. That doesn't work for us. It works for the other folks whose brains aren't wired the way that our brains are wired, but it doesn't work for us. I can promise you that. If there's any other addict out there of the zillions that are out there that want to beg to differ, more power to you. People who are in active addiction. When we're in addiction, our brains will tell us anything and make up any excuse to give us a reason to use, right? Is there anybody that wants to disagree with me about that?
No.
Go ahead.
I'm just, no,
I mean, go ahead and speak.
Yeah, I'm just smiling because, you know, when I first started coming into program, I wanted to use, but in the way that I wanted to use. I just wanted to cut down on how I was using.
Yeah,
but I
you
wanted
and
to,
everybody else.
Right, I just wanted to keep on using, okay, but I just didn't want to stop. And that for me was really scary. You know, the thought of never being able to do something again put me in a place where I felt like a victim and I felt resentful that I couldn't do things that normal people could do. But I think the shift and change for me was when I realized I'm not a normal person, and I never really have been, because my normal husband didn't go for surgery. I did. You know, for me, I've done things in my life that tell me that if I keep doing the things that I've been doing, I'm going to keep getting the same results. So maybe I need to look at things a little bit differently and listen to people that are achieving different results and getting different. There is something else out there. I don't know what it was. I came in, I was really confused. I came in, I was really scared. I just knew that where I was really miserable and afraid and alone. So it really takes, keep coming back, do the workshop, keep asking the questions, because that's how we learn. And also this gratitude. I mean, gratitude is huge.
Tell me.
I just wanted to say, we're getting questions. Can you explain what abstinence means when you have a food addiction?
Okay, so we're gonna do this in 10 seconds or less. Rice, bread, potato, pasta, starches and sweets touch the dopamine receptor. I don't care what color the starch is or how the sweet is shaped. Rice, bread, potato, and pasta for true food addicts will trigger that mental obsession and physical craving. That's all we're gonna talk about as far as that goes. It doesn't matter if you're an alcoholic. If I have a beer or a glass of wine or a shot of tequila or gin, it's the same crap. It still triggers the mental obsession and the physical craving. I'm gonna check 1 second. And again, it's not about the bread. It's about why are you eating the bread? It's not about the bread. I had one piece of, first of all, you go into immediate bullshit mode, which every single one of us does. Every one of us does when we want to use. Well, I only had one piece of bread and it's really not on my meal plan, but if I looked over there and I did the points, and she said, and I talked to my next door neighbor who said, as long as the bread is purple with pumpernickel on it, that it's a Don't. And find out from others what recovery means. Recovery is about getting happy. It's about me not doing things that are potentially hurting me. It's about me letting go of what I'm not in control of. It's about me having acceptance. It's about me knowing the difference between what acceptance and a boundary is. Those are the things that we learn in recovery. We don't learn how not to pick up. No, we know how not to pick up. You don't do it. That's the how not to pick up part. Right? Until we're abstinent, it doesn't allow us to step into any kind of recovery. Yes.
So as a food addict, this is where I start going down really slippery slopes if I'm not really black and white about my recovery. When I start doing this thing of the low carb and switching this for that and all this other story, that's when I sit in chaos, and that's when I start picking up, because that's when I start justifying, and that's when I start obsessing about my next meal and what the next thing looks like, and it becomes all about the food, and it becomes all about that noise.
That's when she starts lying.
And that's when I
She's
start
lying to her.
So when
She's
I
lying.
So when I start buying into the other bullshit of this low whatever, it's really black and white and it's really clean. Exactly what you said.
That's it.
That's it.
No starches and no sweets. Done. Okay. No matter what color or what shape. None. Okay, now train. Now I can start paying attention to how I'm feeling as opposed to what I'm eating. Right? Because what you're eating isn't the problem. It's why you're doing it. That's the problem. And Nancy, that's what we're going to teach you more of. So thanks for bringing that up, because everybody's giggling and shaking their head and doing all this stuff about all the lies that we tell ourselves. You know, we lie to everybody, but we have to lie to ourselves first so that we could figure out how to lie to everybody else. And so right now, Nancy, you're lying to yourself, and that's one of the things that you'll learn not to do when you're in recovery. And the stuff that you're saying is stuff that everybody else in active addiction said the same exact thing. All of us. Every one of us.
And I think like what Katie said is like a difference.
Speak up, because we have obviously a very
train.
long
Yeah.
train.
We have the longest
Usually
train
the
in
short
history.
train. Say it's a long train.
Like when you're saying like substitute this for that and all that other garbage, that's like diet talk and diet mentality, and that's what kept me hopeless and in my addiction, which I didn't realize was. So switching that is the key. I mean, that's what has to happen that's the difference between recovery and diet.
That was the hardest thing for me to come to terms with, is not seeing recovery as a diet.
Right. I can't see it as a diet or it will fail.
And the easiest way for me to really look at it, I needed a spiritual recovery. No matter what, it's not a religious program, it's a spiritual program. When I started looking at the food and the diet that's a physical, and that puts me in exactly the same sick place that I was before, I have to work on me spiritually to be able to become healthy. And then that takes away that whole physical side of it altogether.
Right, getting skinny ain't what it's about. Getting happy is what recovery's about. Getting not so scared, letting go of resentments, understanding about trains, and not even having a challenge with the trains. Understanding that there are things that I need to accept because they're happening. They're happening, and I have no control over it. But I do have control over my actions, and I'm gonna learn that I actually have control over my perspective. And changing my perspective is walking into recovery and staying in recovery.
And being on a journey.
And being on a journey, hence the train. Thank you, that was good. That was
So we started to run out of time a little
We
bit,
didn't
so I
even
just
talk
want to,
to the
I
other
know
folks.
we got carried away. And I'm just so excited to have Jessica again. You don't actually understand. I can't stop looking at her and
So
smiling.
you guys get on a plane and come over.
Come visit.
Come
This is
over.
so awesome.
Yeah.
So we meet up again on Sunday at 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have got our workshop coming out Saturday, a week next Saturday.
Is that what it is?
This Saturday, this Saturday.
No, this
No,
Saturday
not
is
our workshop.
Yeah, we have
The
two
other
workshops. We
workshop.
have an intensive
Like all the
9-day.
cool kids are like, that's our workshop.
Yeah, we have our 1-day workshop, okay, which is really the experience. So that's coming up, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So if you want to hop on, get in, because once it starts, you've missed that train.
Right, it's the
You
train's
missed the
gone.
train, okay? So we see you on Sundays and on Thursdays, and also, you want to take us out?
I'm gonna read from the promises from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Oh, I wanted to put a challenge out. Wait, you go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to thank everyone who is of service. Okay,
Thank you
people
guys
give us
for
so many
being of
gifts in
service.
recovery. Angeli, Jessica today, Ahmed, who's normally here, Felice, also Trim and General Provision, who
Katie.
gifted us this amazing space to hold our meetings. Okay, it's just quite amazing. Sarah, she also steps into service.
And for everybody who shows up, for everybody that shares, for everybody who shows up and doesn't share, you know, for people who are out there, for people who comment. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of our community. You know, that's what this sharing is about.
And for making it a
So-
community, because it's not a community without you.
Yeah. And, I wanted to say something, but I'm obviously old and I don't
Challenge.
remember what it was. Oh, challenge. That's why we keep younger people around. So everybody, I want the people who wrote their goodbye letter, I want you to repost it, rewrite it if you want to, and repost it. Anybody who's in the workshop, that's already in the workshop, your assignment before Saturday's meeting, which is the day after tomorrow, is to write a goodbye letter to your addiction and to post, are we posting it on What's Eating You or Why Wait for Recovery? What's Eating You?
What's eating you?
On What's Eating You, if you want to share it with the world, I'll put mine on Why Wait for Recovery as well, because I'm comfortable with sharing it with the world, but at least put it up on What's Eating You. And for anybody else who wants to take the challenge, you're going to say goodbye to your lover, to your best friend, to who you're used to turning to. I want to hear about those goodbyes, and we'll post some tonight so that for the people who are really retentive and are afraid that they're going to do it wrong because they have an ego problem, which we all do, right? You could go ahead and read one so that you can get an idea of what that looks like.
So What's Eating You is on Facebook. It's a closed group. You need to answer 3 questions to be accepted into the group.
Right, so just answer the 3 questions, guys, they come up, and then we'll accept you into the group if we know that you're sincere about it. And now I'm gonna read from the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Again, just a little shout out, we're not part of any of the 8 programs. We're 2 girls with a bunch of friends talking about recovery. But shout out to those programs as well, because it helped us all get clean and helps a lot of us stay clean. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. Girls, are you amazed before you're halfway through? Yeah, we're going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We won't regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down that scale we've gone, we'll see how our experience, Jennifer, can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that the universe does for us what we can't do for ourselves. Are these extravagant?
And I'm so blessed and grateful to be in recovery. My name's Haiti, and if no one's told you today that they love you, I love you, and thank you.
Peace out, you guys.
Everyone.
Awesome.
Sunday.
Peace out.
Sign up for the workshop.
Thank you. Thanks, you guys, and I didn't